Hey everyone, Katie and Sergeant Steele here with another unit review, and today we're going to be talking about
Sly Marbo!
So today we are talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Sly Marbo. You're asking, Katie Sergeant Steele, you play Cadians. Why are we talking about Sly Marbo? Well, wait a minute, who is Sly Marbo? Well, so this is currently the miniature for him. It did get an update not too long ago, and this is the model we currently have. I really, really love this model and what it means for me. And I just have to brag about this before we talk about the unit. This is the callback to pop culture references that Warhammer has always been in the past, right? The Necrons are Terminators, and technically we got elves and dwarves, right? Fantasy-based stuff in outer space. And there's plenty of like really cool kind of Lord of the Rings or Blade Runner or right, Starship Troopers and so on and so forth references in Warhammer. Sly Marbo is a combination of a multitude of references. He is Arnold Schwarzenegger from Predator. He is, which, right, so, okay, you know, you got the blonde, well, the way I painted him up, he's got the little high and tight there on the model. He is also, probably, you know, maybe there's probably a Sylvester Stallone reference somehow in the making of this model, and I've probably missed it. But the other thing that I find really cool and a lot of people miss is if you look at his weapon, this is a cool reference. Okay, it's an Uzi with a silencer and a scope. It's the silliest thing you've ever heard of. That is a reference to Escape from LA, Escape from New York character Snake Plissken. And I absolutely love it. They're some of my favorite movies. They're so much fun, action-packed, great cameos in them too. And this model has included some of that. So beautiful model. It's a ton of fun to paint. It is currently resin, so that's something to keep in mind, but I highly recommend it. Oh my god. Anyways, okay, enough gawking at Sly Marbo. I know he's super handsome, but let's get on with what you're here for, and that is a unit review. Okay, so let's talk about the basic stats as we always do. Movement 6, toughness 3, 5 up save, 4 wounds. So, right, a character with a little bit of resilience. Leadership 7, 1 OC. All right, pretty typical Astra Militarum named character. Nothing special at all. He's even got the t-shirt saves. He has no invulnerable save. So this is it. That's his stats. Nothing else special about him in terms of his stat line. Let's talk about his Wargear, and then we're going to go into abilities. Now, his Wargear is super important because his weapons help him accomplish his intended purpose now. So, we have his ranged weapons. So his little Uzi, right? His scoped Uzi. And it is a Ripper pistol, anti-infantry 2 up. You're wounding infantry keywords models on a 2. Then we have pistol and precision. So that's really awesome, which means he can shoot it while in melee. Really cool. 12-inch range. Okay. 3 shots. Ballistic skill 2+. Strength 5. -1 AP 2 damage. It's a heavy bolter pistol without the sustained hits one. That is awesome. He is going to destroy things. Now remember, he has precision. So let's talk about his melee weapon real quick. It's Envenomed Blade. Okay, we got that there modeled on the model. It's stuck in the orc head and the typical model here. And it has anti-infantry 2+ and precision. It is 5 attacks, weapon skill 2 up, strength 5, -1 AP, 2 damage. It is also a heavy bolter for a melee weapon with precision, but no sustained hits. But 5 attacks. So that's really amazing. Holy moly. So now you can see both of his weapons have precision. So he's intended to kill characters. He is intended to slay characters that happen to get close to him. The -1 AP is okay, but most characters are going to have an invuln save anyway, so that's not too much of a downside. The flat 2 damage is really great. Now let's talk about what makes him even more special, and that is his unit abilities. He has infiltrators. Well, that's pretty cool. So that means you can drop them down, right? During deployment, anywhere you want, hidden behind stuff, hidden around things, and threatening your opponent in the midfield. That's pretty cool. He has lone operative, so he cannot be targeted with ranged attack if he's more than 12 inches away. Okay, good thing to keep in mind. It's also going to keep him alive because he is not a leader unit. He cannot attach to an infantry squad. And he has stealth, so he's -1 to be hit. I like all of this so far. This is really awesome, really good to keep in mind. So he is going to have a lot of good movement. He's going to get up in there, and he's going to cause some damage to characters especially. But let's talk about his 2 unique abilities that he has. First, one-man army. Each time an enemy unit targets a friendly Astra Militarum unit within 3 inches of this model with ranged attacks, after that enemy unit has finished making its attacks, this model can shoot as if it were your shooting phase. Now, this isn't as good as it sounds at first, and the reason being is because, remember, he only has a 12-inch range. So, for him to be able to shoot with lone operative, that means your opponents would have to be in range of shooting him also, potentially, right? For him to be able to shoot back at that particular unit. But this is how this triggers, and I'm going to use Harker here as an example, right? Fellow Catechin. Say Harker was a whole infantry squad nearby, and he was targeted. He's within 3 inches, right? So Harker gets shot at. The attacks conclude. Now Sly Marbo can shoot. Now, not necessarily at the unit that made the shooting. He can just shoot in general. But he can only shoot things within 12 inches. So it's really just going to be kind of a trigger for you to be able to get extra attacks during your opponent's phase, which could happen. But I imagine if your opponent's aware of this rule and you've done the thing about telling your opponent during the pregame about your army and that you have this rule, he's hopefully he or she's going to remember that if they shoot a unit near Sly Marbo is going to shoot, and so they're going to probably try to position to shoot Sly Marbo. And that's probably how that's going to work. And then he's only going to be able to shoot units within 12 inches. So not that big of a threat, but it is a way to get some extra attacks. Pretty cool. Okay. The next part is what really makes a difference. Like fighting a shadow. Each time this model has shot. Now notice the phrasing there. Each time it has shot. Not in your shooting phase. So that could be your turn or your opponent's turn. If it is not within engagement range of any enemy units, it can make a normal move as if it were your shooting phase. Okay, so let's go back to your opponent's phase as an example. Harker's an infantry squad, he gets shot. Then Sly Marbo shoots. Then Sly Marbo moves 6 inches and is hidden. Your opponent has now made the fatal mistake of not being able to kill Sly Marbo, and Sly Marbo now cannot be killed because he's now hidden and nothing else could shoot him. Okay, pretty resilient and really, really cool and fun way to work with that model. Or maybe you could shift him forward even more so he could get closer to an objective, right? And these are all kinds of different ways you can use his movement to your advantage. It's just an extra free move. You can also do it during your own turn, maybe to get onto an objective or to get somewhere specific. The only thing you can't do afterwards is charge. And you may want to. All right. So with that, let's also talk about his keywords real quick, because this surprised me in what he could do. Now, even though he's an epic character, you can only take one of them. He has a thing called Loner, and he can never be your warlord. Fair. This is where I got surprised. So his keywords are infantry character, epic hero, Imperium, grenades, Sly Marbo, and regiment. Wait a minute. He is a regiment keyword model. So that means he can receive orders from officers. Now, that's not going to make too big of a difference. Okay, right? Because our most common orders are take aim, +1 ballistic skill, where he already hits on 2s. All right. His, can't take fixed bayonets because he can't get +1 weapon skill. He's already at a 2-up. Duty and honor, okay, you give him +1 OC, but he's only OC 2. He's not going to challenge a whole lot. So orders aren't really going to make a huge difference, except for one came to mind for me. That's move, move, move. He is deadly in both shooting and melee combat. He is here to kill characters. So you could technically have an officer, issue him move, move, move. Now he's got a 9-inch movement. That's going to surprise some people for something that's basically a super flexible assassin. And so he could run up, and here's a scenario. He could run out, see a character. He's going to target it, he's going to shoot it. Great. He doesn't kill that character. Because he's now got a 9-inch move, he's moved farther than what your opponent was expecting, and you could then potentially charge that character, helping him close the kill. Or the other option in this, in terms of your tactics, you do shoot and kill the character with your 3 shots. Say you get lucky and you kill the character, because right, that's not a whole lot of shots. I know he's hitting on 2s and he's wounding on 2s, but it's only -1 AP and it's flat 2 damage. And some characters they have feel no pains, or they have better saves than that, and they may not get taken down so easily. All right. So he does say he does kill the character though. You get lucky, he kills the character. He's now shot. You can now move him another 6 inches. Where did Sly Marbo go? So he's a very flexible, very interesting assassin for the Astra Militarum, is basically what it boils down to. And that's his whole tactics and strategy. Like, that's all he's going to do. He's going to run around and just be a menace and kill a few Space Marines or kill a few characters and bump in and out of stuff. And he's going to try to hit and go constantly. Now, there's no way to really keep him alive otherwise. He is only a 4 wound, 5-up save character with stealth and lone operative. So once he finally gets targeted, he's going to be gone. And I think that's why we're not seeing Sly Marbo in a lot of lists. If you're going to run him, you're going to have to be tactically very clever to prevent him from being taken out very quickly. He's currently a modest points investment for what he does, and because of that, you're not going to want to give him up so easily. I mean, he costs as much as an infantry squad, right? So how are you going to get your points worth out of him? And you got to think about that when you're playing. And whether this is competitive or whether it's casual play in general, right? You don't want to just surrender whole units to oblivion without them contributing anything to your battle. And that happens in Warhammer 40,000. It's a dice game. But you want to try to make him meaningful and useful in your work. And so with that, I think he struggles a little bit in terms of his value. But he's a lot of fun. That is a lot of cool things that he can do, a lot of neat ways he can kind of interact. And movement's extremely important in Warhammer 4000. I mean, you basically win and lose the game most of the time based on movement. And he's got a lot of it. He's got a lot of different ways that can be triggered and work. I mean, so essentially, keep in mind, he could do 3 movements during a single battle round. His regular movement, his movement after he shoots, and his movement if your opponent shoots. And then he shoots because your opponent shoots a unit that's within 3 inches of him. Okay. Wow, that right? Without advancing, without move, you're talking, that's 18 inches of movement right there. No buffs. He could just be triggered and move 18 inches. And if you're playing on the smaller battlefield sizes, that's a lot of room to be able to move around and be able to do some stuff. So yeah, I think he's a really fun model, really cool. And I've definitely, I'm actually looking to try him out. And just to make a point, I'm thinking about putting him in my competitive league list for some fun, just to see what I can do with him and just have fun at the local shop, fighting against my local club members using Sly Marbo, because everyone will cheer and everyone will be excited and we'll all have a great time with him on the battlefield. All right, so that's it for today. That's it for this unit review. In case you're wondering what the color scheme is, this is my custom Urban Warfare, the 5th Fire Badgers, and he was going to be a member of that. It's kind of my way of doing Catachin without doing Catachin, although now in hindsight, I kind of wish I had done a more jungle theme rather than urban themed, but it's a great color scheme. I really like it, the blue and the kind of tan. so it's a little bit different tan than my Cadians, and the blue is not something I typically do. It's also not close to the gray on my Krieg, so it's a whole unique color scheme I've done up. Harker's in the same scheme. I got him there. I painted these long ago. I need to finish up the squads for that so I can play with them a little bit and have fun, but that's it. All right, so I hope you all enjoyed this quick unit review, and I hope you've been enjoying all these and all the other content I'm putting out. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. It's the first one you're watching. And just remember, I hope you have fun wargaming. And as always, Cadia stands.